Welcome to Equal Inspired, the inclusive podcast, brought to you by Equal IT. Plamena Cherneva joins us, who is an IT consultant, passionate entrepreneur, and relentless diversity and inclusion advocate. After graduating with a master's in computer science and engineering from the Technical University of Denmark, and also experiencing all possible challenges as a minority in the industry, she established the Wonder Coders NGO. Plamena is also the founder of the Nordic Women in Tech Awards, which is one of the biggest women in tech communities in the Nordics, and she is also a board member of the European Female Founders Network.
Thank you for having me.
In true Equal Inspired fashion, we would love to start by knowing who or what is inspiring you at the moment.
Oh, I love this question. I think what I really try, and I know that this is probably not the kind of a cliche answer that a lot of people are coming up with. I think I try to really inspire myself a lot. There's a lot of role models, and I know we'll be talking about Nordic Women in Tech Awards in a bit, but we try to get as many as possible role models in the Nordics, people that are already in the IT industry to inspire others to get into the field with their accomplishments throughout the years. But I find it also because growing up and being, the minority in the tech industry, it was very difficult, to be something that you cannot see. If you don't see other women out there, it's just very difficult for you to find something that that inspires you. And I really tried really hard to push myself to be better and better and better every year, every step of the way. So I imagine myself at times, okay, who will I be in like 5 or 10 years? And will this person there inspire me now? So I try to kind of take the ladder a little bit and be a better version of myself, even though that there's a lot of, people around me that can easily inspire me. But I really try to push myself, to challenge myself a lot.
I absolutely love that. Sometimes we can just put so much pressure on ourselves. And if we can change that lens to really work to inspire ourselves, as opposed to putting ourselves down and focusing on those negatives, then it's going to make us better and more productive.
Sometimes we tend to get lost, and I've heard this so many times, like people are saying, oh, I reached all my goals, I think I'm done. And I was like, you cannot be done. Otherwise you get lost in life. You really have to find something that inspires you, find something that makes you improve, makes you grow, something to dream for even. Just aim a goal that you strive for.
I completely agree with you. And your career has been really inspirational to get to where you are now. But we'd love to know how you entered the tech space. What was that journey like for you?
I honestly feel like it was very natural for me. I don't know. For some people, they found inspiration in something. For me, my entire life, growing up, I remember that I grew up with video games. I don't know if you remember it. I think, what was it called? Game Boy? Back in the day, there was this game. Oh my God. I was so obsessed by it, honestly, as a child. And it became so natural for me. Like, I felt like my path was just, I don't know, like drawn from since I was a child. And I saw like a lot of people are saying that we push women back from technology. In a way, that's true. But I could actually see it from early years. Me and my sister, we grew up in the same environment with the same friends, but she was so not interested in technology, totally opposite of me. I was very much into geeky stuff in general, whether it's video games or like the old Sony PlayStations, the very, very first ones and all that. Like, I was completely obsessed by it, and computers later on. So it's just like I knew from early age that I would probably keep developing in that field, and I'm still here. Years later, I'm still here, but it's I guess just my obsession from childhood with technology. I remember my parents telling me the techie in the house. I was the only one that was crazy about, mobile phones. I'll disassemble them all, check what there is inside, and I'll assemble them again, things like that. I was very fascinated how technology works and how it impacts our life and how it fast, evolves and develops and into so many new interesting stuff, gadgets. Yeah.
Game Boy, it was an addiction. Let's be real. For me as well, at some point, I was really into Spyro. And then when Harry Potter come out, that was it. I was hooked on the Philosopher's Stone, playing that game literally 24/7. God, I miss those days.
It was such an addiction, unbelievable.
But it's great that you had that interest from a young age and you've been on that journey. And throughout that journey, did you notice any lack of representation that maybe influenced your experience?
I think my biggest eye-opener, I must say, was when I moved to Denmark. Before that, growing up in Eastern Europe, things were quite different because I honestly didn't feel like we were divided between boys and girls. It's just like, if you want to climb the tree as a girl, just go ahead and do it. We didn't have this kind of stoppers where you're like, oh, be careful, or girls don't do that. We didn't really have this kind of expressions. I would even call them expressions because they are. Like things like, oh, one lady doesn't behave like that. We never had that. And in general, women in Balkans were very kind of strong personalities. Even though, of course, we had some limitations, it's just that our personalities were quite different. And the way we would grow, or children will grow, will be outside, playing in the field. And there were so many dangerous things around, but we didn't care. So I honestly didn't feel this divide that I felt when I moved to Western Europe. Maybe a little bit on that side. Also, when I studied in IT, we were 50-50. Like the representation or the ratio between women and men entering IT fields was 50-50. And by day, Eastern Europe is much ahead than the rest of the Europe when it comes to women following career paths in the tech industry. I think that there was something from kind of cultural perspective that I honestly didn't feel misrepresented.
When you moved over to Western Europe, what did that look like when you say lack of representation?
I honestly had a cultural shock when I moved into Western Europe. Of course, you get it because they were so different, even though it is Europe. Different cultures, different way of, working even. So when I moved in here, I moved in for my master's degree, and I was supposed to stay in Denmark for 1.5 years, but 14 years later I'm still here. When I moved first and I started studying, I realized that first of all, of course, you get the cultural shock because you're moving to a new place with different personalities here and how things are in Denmark in general. We have we're very different and very different cultures, and I don't even know how to, I guess we have to dive deeper into each one of the kind of segments maybe to for you to have a better understanding. But if we stay away a little bit from kind of personalities and, cultures and move towards education, when I moved in, the first thing, apart from this cultural shock that I had, the first thing was me entering a huge hall, 100 plus people in the hall. And then I was just looking around and I was the only woman. The first thing that shocked me, I was like, what's going on here? Like, is there like a place for women and like a separate program for women and separate for men? Because I studied computer science and I expected maybe not like completely equal representation, but I honestly didn't expect that I'll be the only one. These were like 100 plus students. It's not like, being 10 and you're the only one out of 10, which is still bad, but not us, as in 100 people. in the audience. And all my teachers were male, all my colleagues were male. I remember there was two ladies that jumped in the program for just a few weeks, I guess, but they just jumped in for a specific subject. Otherwise, they were studying a completely different program. I think it was more towards physics, if I'm not mistaken. So computer science was, I felt lonely, I must say, very, very lonely, because I know that this is a stereotype and we're trying to break stereotypes right now a lot. But stereotypical programmers, so people that study computer science, they're not as social. So when you end up in a situation being the only woman there, in many cases, they're shy to approach you. They'll prefer, to be somewhere else. And me or them accepting me to be part or to do projects with them, it was almost impossible because they didn't feel comfortable with me. And that put even much more pressure on top of all that was happening. So, and a lot of women drop out the first semester of their IT education. This is just really bad. It's still happening, because they were like, oh, this is not for me. Let me just move into something else. Because they don't feel welcomed. They don't feel supported. And that happens. It happens. You cannot, it's very difficult to change that. And I think it starts with the institution that you're studying in. They have to find a way to fight this, because otherwise we're not going to make a difference. And it might be through social activities, it might be something, but they just need to, they need to do something about it. So I dropped out as well. I dropped out the first semester because I was like, okay, apparently nobody wants me to be part of this or program, or I don't fit in here. So the second semester I tried again. I jumped back and I was like, okay, let me retake all the classes that I didn't take the first semester. And I tried really hard. And I was so close on dropping out the second semester as well. And just to call it quits of the program, I met one of my very good friends by day. He's a male, but he was also foreigner. And because he came also from a country where there was a big representation of women in the IT industry, he was not shy towards women, or it wasn't difficult for him to work with women and do projects with women. So I'm grateful that I met him, because I remember he came to me and he said, "Oh, you are much better than you think you are." So I think I needed this push, I needed this kick, I needed someone to tell me, yes, you can do it. Because if you are in a place like that where you feel you're full with doubts, you don't feel like you fit in, you feel unwelcomed, something needs to happen. And it's at that point, it's very hard for you to tell yourself, yes, you can do it, push it, try it out. Because I did, I tried. I went for a second semester. I could have just said, that's it. But I knew that technology is where I wanted to develop. So I had to push myself, but I also needed that support. And I'm very grateful for him that he came to me and he was with me, supporting me. And then remember the third semester, actually, I was the one who was doing his homework at times. So he was so proud. I was just giving back, at times. But yeah, that kind of led to what I'm working right now. That led to the establishment of the NGO. I needed more women to know that there is someone who cares and you can get the support that you need.
I'm so pleased that you were able to have that support system as well, and you experienced that sense of allyship. And I resonate a lot with that. It's something I experienced with my co-founder, Jonathan, many, many years ago, that almost led to that full circle moment of us launching Equal IT. What do you feel people can do to better support women in tech? What can they do, I guess, to give you all the feels that you received from your friend?
I think you said it earlier, being an ally and really caring. We need people to care about the challenges that we go with. I think we turned, and what I don't like, I'm just going to step up a little bit here. What I don't like is having an organizations that support women but limit the members in the organization. I do not like that, because you're basically telling half of the population on Earth, we're going to do it, ourselves. We don't need you there. It doesn't work like that. I personally have experienced that. I got the help from a man who really cared, and he was like, "Hey, you know what? You're human. I don't care if you're male or female. If you have a problem, we fix it together." And I think this is what we need. We just need everyone to be together, and for some men, because I know that there are some that already understand what's going on, but those that don't understand it yet, they need to be taught. They need to be guided, because otherwise they'll keep believing what they're believing. And in many cases, they don't support women in tech, for example, organizations or female empowerment organizations, because they feel they don't belong there. And we're basically trying to fix a problem with a problem. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. No. So we're actually doing the same thing that was done before. It's not like eye for an eye. That's not the idea behind it, right? So everyone can help. Everyone can support. It doesn't matter you're a male, female, member, queer community. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that we need to be in this together and support one another. And support, I mean in a kind, I like the expression leading with kindness. Kindness does a huge thing and changes so much. I know that a lot of people love arguing, and I've had cases where people will argue with me, "Oh, this is not how you feel. You're the one telling me how I feel." Then no. I've had the experience, I had the challenges. I understand that you have an opinion, but if you haven't been in my shoes, you cannot understand fully what I have gone through. And you shouldn't be the one telling me how to do things or how I feel. The only thing that I would expect from you is, just to listen. And many things is like, if you don't understand it, it doesn't mean that you should reject it. You just listen through it and be kind, be nice. Or if you think that you cannot support, or if you don't want support, then just be quiet. Then go towards your way, to your direction, keep it for yourself, and let the rest fight their fight. It's as simple as it is. And I've had teachers that I asked them, if you see that there's a female in your computer science class, software development, or whatever, make sure that you ask her. Make sure that you ask her if she feels good in it, if she needs any support. Because in many cases, if they're the only ones who are minority in a group of people, they feel like an outsider. And it's important that, as I mentioned already, is the institution, is the teachers. They need to give the support. So it might be a one step, but it's a step ahead. I keep saying that, just one step, but it's ahead. That's sometimes it's the simple things.
These personal experiences that you've had, this journey that led you to starting Wonder Coders, the NGO, and that then led to the Nordic Women in Tech Awards. Could you share a little bit more about the focus and the mission?
I have started a nonprofit organization because I really wanted to support other people that were going through the same challenges that I was going through. And of course, the focus was primarily women, but then we knew that we shouldn't be limited. And if there is someone who wants to learn, they're more than welcome to join the organization. They were more than welcome to join the initiatives that we were running. We tried to partner up with different organizations, where they would teach us, for example, different aspects of technology. It could be from computer science to IT project management, even entrepreneurship if you want to be an entrepreneur one day. So it was a lot more hands-on than just, talks, because we had people that could be speakers and they can talk more about, their experience in the industry and all that. But what we wanted was really the hands-on experience, because sometimes you need to feel, sometimes you have the skills and as I mentioned to you earlier, you don't know how good you are until someone tells you that you are good enough. So we wanted to inspire people. We wanted for them to know that, there is an organization out there. If you feel stuck, whether it's in a project or whether you're unsure if you want to start certain education and you want to give it a start first and see whether this is something for you or not, this was the place to go. So we would organize events such as She Tech, where we would just get together and do some projects together, share some, do some knowledge sharing. And there were so many. I mean, we've been running it since 2017, and we would have 2 or 3 events per month where we would have like a coding Sundays, for example. We meet for an entire day. We get some lecturers to come and share their experiences. Then we do some exercises in the afternoon. And it was honestly amazing before Corona. After Corona hit, we couldn't do it on site. But at some point, we had these amazing people who would come to us and say, hey, you know, we love what you do. We really want to develop into the field, but we don't feel supported. Then they'll go to organizations and they'll be rejected with no answer what for. And that really hurts your confidence, because you start doubting yourself. Is it like my skills and my experience? But in most cases, it's the stereotype that if you're a woman, you're not good enough in technology. So we decided to partner up with organizations, and then instead of only teaching women, because the full focus was, you know, women and changing women and supporting women and empowering women, we were like, okay, I think we need to take another direction, or maybe extra direction, and support companies in their way towards diversity and inclusion, to be more welcome, to be more inclusive towards women, whether it's changes in their recruiting process, whether it's educating their teams how to be more inclusive. So we wanted to support both ends. And then at some point, women, you know, they'll get a job, or cases where they'll get a job, they'll come to us and they'll say, hey, you know, it's great, you know, I'm part of this team, but I'm the only woman there, and I don't really see or find any role models in the industry. And then we're like, okay, then maybe we should do something else, because we know that there is a lot of women in the Nordics that have achieved a lot in the industry. Why don't we feature and celebrate them? And this is what we did with Nordic Women in Tech Awards. So Nordic Women in Tech Awards has one main goal, and that's featuring and celebrating women that have already achieved a lot in the industry. Has been our main kind of focus with Nordic Women in Tech Awards. And we started in 2018 with the first award ceremony that was, I would say, very Danish, because it started in Denmark. But then we knew that if we want to be truly Nordic, we have to do something together with other organizations. So we reached out to Women in Tech Gothenburg, Women in Tech Iceland, Women in Tech Oslo, and we said, hey, you know what, let's just do it together. Like, our organization will represent Denmark, your organizations are representing the rest of the Nordic countries. Hopefully we'll get Finland on board in the upcoming years. But if we want to make a difference in the Nordics as a start, we should all work together. And then they just jumped in with open arms, and they're like, hey, of course, you know, we're definitely in, we're on board. At the end of the day, we're on the same mission. And I think we should work together instead of compete. It's enough that we compete, you know, on daily basis. We compete and we wear these masks outside when we, you know, whether it's at work or in front of investors or anywhere. I think working together and not competing will bring us much more benefits, and will bring much more benefits to each one of the organizations, not only to Nordic Women in Tech Awards. So yeah, this year we are going to have the event in Iceland, and I'm very excited about it. It's the first time that we're doing it there. It's been a journey so far. The one thing that I want to see, because I see a lot of people part of the event that are very excited about it, that are eager to be part of this community, that we're to be right now 7,000 plus members. I want to see more organizations supporting it, because we know that we have the struggle. We know the challenges that we go through. We need the organizations to be there and support us. We want to see that organizations care. And I think this is, this kind of what we're trying to do right now to get more organizations on board, for them to understand that this is not just another Women in Tech event. It's a lot more. It's a lot bigger. It's a community that wants to see that you, as a representative from a certain organization or as an organization overall, you care about us and you care about diversity and inclusion, and you want to see women achieving goals in the tech industry and being part of the future, because we know that this technology is going where it is. It's not going to stop. So we need to see women represented there.
For organizations to come on board, it's so impactful because it enables you to really walk the talk. If you're a business that highlights that DE&I is something that they truly care about, well, if we put the magnifying glass onto your values, what action are you taking? And supporting, sponsoring Nordic Women in Tech Awards is a great way in which you can showcase that. I absolutely love your mission to amplify role models. It's so impactful. And how does it actually work, the awards?
What we want to make sure is that, of course, we have an award ceremony and we want to make it as nice as the Oscars in the Nordics. So, and it's getting there. I think we're really doing good. But what is happening is so that we have, every year, we have about between 300 and 700 nominees for an award. We have 10 award categories. It can be from Digital Leader of the Year and to Developer of the Year. We try to cover most of the aspects in the tech industry, and we have, this year we have about 700 nominees in 10 categories, and we have local and global judges. So local judges are voting, let's say, if we have nomination Sweden, and we do, then we have local judges in Sweden that are choosing who should be shortlisted for a winner in each one of the categories. So local judges vote for the shortlisted nominees. Then we go the next level, which is global judges sitting in the global judging panel that are voting for a winner in each one of the categories. We don't announce the winners before the ceremony in November. So we usually pick up second Thursday of November for the award ceremony every year. And we announce the winners there, yeah. So we have like a normal award ceremony where we have a mix, I would say, between speakers, inspirational speakers, and handing out awards. We have a great DJ, usually, with nice music, a great atmosphere, amazing dinner. And this year, based on the feedback that we received from last year, we're trying to give a little bit more space for networking. So we're hoping that this year we're going to be able to organize a separate networking event for all the guests that are coming to Iceland. And of course, there is no ceremony without a lot of dancing. So at the end of the ceremony, we reserve our time for dancing and, you know, just having fun and just having one day at least a year where we can, you know, take off all masks and not caring about anything, but just, you know, relax, take it all out, have fun, no judgment. We love that. We love that everyone feels like they're welcomed and nobody's pointing fingers. We just dance and enjoy life, basically.
Yeah, it's good times, good vibes. I can honestly vouch for that. I have firsthand experience from attending last year. It was absolutely amazing, so empowering, so much fun. I've met so many people there that I continue to speak with today and have collaborated with in many ways. And there's just no words, Plamena. There really isn't. I'm getting excited thinking about this year already. And it's great that you focus on the feedback. You're always evolving. How else would you say that the event has evolved from when you first started to this year?
Initially, when it started, it was more of it was part of the summit that we organized in 2017. Yeah, and the first one was in 2017. So we organized a diversity summit, which was the first ever in the Nordics. Now we have a bigger one that is happening in Norway, but this one we really wanted to do something because it felt like something was happening. Some initiatives started popping up about diversity, inclusion, belonging, but we didn't have like a platform where we can feature inspirational speakers. We can have panel discussions. That was missing a little bit. Like you would have like mini events from here and there, but something big for an entire day was missing. So we organized that, and then I came up with the idea at the end of the event. I was like, hey, we have so many, people here. Why don't we just, give some awards based on the achievements that they have had in the industry? And then my co-founder, Katya, she was very, very much into it. She was like, yeah, let's do that. So we ordered, because we didn't have any money. It was the first year that we started. We barely had some companies that were on board. We didn't have any money, and we're like, oh, let's just order something from Amazon. I think just the most important thing is that we give something, so they're proud of their achievements. And I remember it was so hilarious. Like one of the awards just broke on stage. Like, that's how it is when you order from Amazon. But we really wanted to do something, right? And then the next year, Rasmus jumped on board. He said in the advisory board, and he said, hey, let's divide the awards and have them separate from the summit. And we did that. So the awards became, in a way, like a separate entity. It's been a long way to go, and I'm very proud of what we have achieved, honestly. It's been quite a journey. But now we have, like, proper awards that they're not falling... yeah, exactly, falling apart or breaking on stage. We have a much bigger community than before. We have changed our visual identity entirely. And the first year that we changed the visual identity of Nordic Women Tech Awards was actually the year of Corona. And we had to organize the event because we didn't know by the end whether they will be allowed to have it on site or not. We had to change or adjust from a physical to online event in 1 month. So it was quite of a journey. We managed to put it together, the entire team, which was great. And we used an awesome system with avatars for the actual ceremony and all that. And I think it was amazing, honestly. But yeah, it's been quite a journey. I would say for the past 2 years, 2021, when we had the European Commission representation on at the ceremony, I was like blown away. I was like, hey, we're only like 3 years old at the time, and the European Commission actually care about us. So they're present at the summit. I'm very grateful, honestly. I'm super grateful for everything that is happening. Seems like people do care, and it seems like we're building the right community, meaning that I have known you through someone, you know me through someone, or they know each other from Nordic Women in Tech Awards. I know that this is also, for example, how you met Alexandra. And, like, we're getting so connected. And even though that we say, the world is big, but actually we're not. We're so connected, and we're so diverse. Like, I'm not from the Nordics, but I represent Denmark at the Nordic Women in Tech Awards, right? We're so diverse, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm grateful for all the men that are part of the community as well, that are mentoring, that are, consulting, supporting, giving advices, or just being a partner or plus one at the ceremony, just being there, being present. It's so important.
The evolution, it's amazing. What you're building is a real powerful support system. You may go to Nordic Women in Tech Awards, go into that room and not know anybody, but I can tell you, you will be leaving knowing a lot of people and having made friends. It's such a warm, a welcoming environment, and you really feel like everybody has your back. Everybody wants you to do well. And it's just amazing. How did you go about assembling a team that shared your vision throughout the years?
I think we're just all passionate about it. With my co-founder, she has been supporting me and sometimes my crazy ideas. But then, as much as I support her, we've been with each other since the very first summit that I've organized, and she has always been passionate about not only supporting women in tech, but her personality is about being a change maker. She wants to bring something. She wants to make a change. She wants to make sure that something is left, like the product of her kindness and dedication. She can see it with every event that we have. She can see it in the eyes of people when they come to the event. She can see it in the eyes of those receiving an award on stage. She can see, the product of everything that she has been doing throughout the year. And we recently actually had a case where one of the volunteers was like, "Hey, I want to be with you for the rest of, for it doesn't matter how many years you're going to have Nordic Women in Tech Awards." And I'm so happy to hear that, because honestly, I mean, nobody's getting paid. I'm not getting paid. We're not getting anything out of it financially. But I feel like I'm richer because I have gotten so many friends, first of all, relationships, huge network, people I can count on. I can call you in and I'll be like, "Hey, Eli, let's just do this together." And I know that you will always be there. It's the same with Alexandra. Like every year I reach out to her and I was like, "Hey, we're going to organize the event. Do you want to be a judge?" And she's like, yes, definitely. I want to be part of it. And this like seeing this passion. And for example, Rasmus, who is in the advisory board, he's like, "Hey, let's just do something bigger, better." I'm grateful for each and every one of them, because being a volunteer is not easy. You have your life aside, right? You have your full-time job, you have your family, you have so many things that you have to deal with. And yet you show up every week and you're there and you dedicate your time. And at the end of the day, it's so great when people come to you and say, "Thank you for changing my life." I don't see a better blessing for that. Like, I honestly, no money can buy that. That's it.
Hearing that impact, it's priceless. It's your why. It's what energizes you and keeps you going. And again, Plamena, it's a credit to you. It's a credit to the team, your spirit, your energy, because as you say, it can be hard sometimes. We're juggling so many different aspects. What has been a significant challenge that you've faced, and how have you had to overcome that and adapt?
Throughout the years, our biggest challenge was getting companies on board. This has always been our biggest challenge, because some companies that are still with this conservative mindset, they are either not believing in the work that we do, or still think that this is another girl power organization. Let me just do a PR. I'll just, I just want to partner up with them, or we just want to partner up with them, but we don't want to sponsor. And at the end of the day, it's not even a huge budget that we need. All we need is just cover like the food that we need to have on the table for the dinner, some marketing materials, awards, and the venue that we need to pay for. But it's been a struggle every year. Like having the Nordics actually sponsor something has been a complete nightmare. For some reason, there is this, I don't even know how to say it. I feel like it's a really wrong perception that equality has been achieved in the Nordics and they don't need to fight for it anymore, which is so wrong. It's so wrong because there's such a long way to go. It's actually a fact, and it's a statistic. I mean, if we read a little bit instead of just listening to the news that are saying, "Oh, we're so equal here in the Nordics," get the statistic, read something more. Don't believe the media that much. It's just the statistics and the facts are out there. If you check even Eurostat, you'd see that we'll need 200 more years to reach that. So even if you see some women that are in leadership positions, that doesn't mean that we have achieved equality. It's just that, like we have a female prime minister. That doesn't mean that we have achieved equality. We have so much to fight for still. I mean, check your development teams. Like, how many women do you have in your integration teams, for example, or your computer programming, or anywhere, like programs at universities or anywhere where we talk about programming or deep tech and so on, or even women who start companies. Like, just read something more before you start believing in something. We're so good at believing media and assuming things. And we tend to argue so much only based on that, but not based on fact. We should be a little bit more cautious towards that.
Completely agree. And I feel that on these topics as well, it's never enough. If we want to achieve an equitable environment and we feel we've done that, it's not something that we should stop doing. We always need to be working to improve it, always be thinking of new innovative ideas, bringing those diverse minds together and perspectives to generate those solutions. And for companies who have sponsored Nordic Women in Tech Awards. What kind of feedback have you received from them?
Especially last year, the feedback has been so positive, and we've had cases also where because we have so many talents, right? It's not only women that have achieved a lot in the tech industry that we celebrate. We celebrate also developers. We celebrate people from different aspects of technology, different areas. And we had a case where we had one of the attendees at the event actually, and one of our volunteers actually, who got jobs at some of the sponsors that we had. So we managed to be even matchmakers. Apart from it, they also see where they have, where their sponsorship goes, because they have full overview, they have full access to our community. They have the opportunity to share their job ads. They have the possibility to network as much as possible with women in tech. And here, last year, actually, I saw some of our sponsors that were taking, pictures from facts and numbers on stage by our speakers that were pointing out or sharing some kind of wise words of how they have gone through the challenges as an organization, for example, how they have made sure that they bring the topic of diversity and inclusion in their organizations, how they educate their teams about diversity and inclusion. So they get the possibility to actually learn more and bring it home, bring it to their organizations and make a difference. And I think this is, at the end of the day, this should be the case as well. This should be one of the things that they have as a takeaway from Nordic Women in Tech Awards. Not only network, but also having the possibility to learn more, having the possibility to learn from other organizations that have already done that. And they have, that have managed to find a way to fight the challenges.
There are so many benefits of being a part of the Nordic Women in Tech Awards. Again, I can't recommend getting involved, sponsoring it enough. It's incredible. November the 9th in Iceland, Nordic Women in Tech Awards 2023. What aspects of this year's event are you really excited about?
Well, first of all, it's Iceland. We're going to be there in November, so we're going to see the Northern Lights and all that. We are also planning some kind of trips we're trying to partner up with some touristic organizations there, like tour guides and so on, so we can offer something more to the attendees. We have we have secured the best venue in Reykjavik with the best view ever, Harpa. So it's going to be magical. That's what I'm hoping for, a magic or magical night. We're also thinking of hosting Women in Tech breakfast the next day, so we can continue networking. We can continue the possibility to meet or match sponsors with attendees, so they can have the possibility to network more. And yeah, I mean, there's so many things that we are thinking of. Women in Tech Iceland have done a great job with helping us with the practicalities around the venue and some of the sponsors, which I'm very grateful for. All I'm hoping is to see more companies on board this year, even though that we do it in Iceland, and Iceland is not really a destination where many companies are based. I still hope that those companies that are in the rest of the Nordic countries realize that despite where we organize the event or where the event is hosted, the number of women or participants from all Nordic countries, there is a fine balance. So even though that the event is not really happening in, for example, Norway, we still have a huge Norwegian representation at the actual event. The event will be live streamed. Our network is still 7,000 plus members, so they have the possibility to get into our talent pool that we have there. So having it in Iceland shouldn't be a reason of saying no to being part of this event. All I'm hoping for in the next couple of months is just to see more companies being part of this, because we need, and our community needs to see that they care. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm so excited for the event and for everything that's coming up, the continued evolution. And finally, Plamena, I'm curious, if you had a theme song that played whenever you walked into a room, what would it be and why?
The first song that came to my mind was It's My Life. Don't wait for things. Act as fast as possible. We tend to overthink, but it's our life or now or never, right? So take the first step. Try things out. I think the word curiosity that you said earlier, I love that word because I'm curious about things. I want to experience it all and then say that this is something that is not for me. Try things. Try even things that you think that you don't like. Just try them out before you say so, right? I think being curious about things, starting without thinking too much, because in any case, we're going to take a risk. Start a company. A lot of people are like, oh, this is not for me. I'm going to invest a lot of money. I don't know where to start from. If you really have a great business idea, give it a go. Otherwise, for the rest of your life, you will regret that you have never tried. So don't think, act. I think this would be my kind of final sentence here. I have tried my entire life to live by that, not to think too much, because sometimes the more we think about it, the more doubts are coming in.
Do you know what? That's your drop the mic moment, and I'm totally here for it. Thank you so much, Plamena, for your time, your passion, your energy. You are beyond inspiring, and it's been such a pleasure speaking.
Thank you for having me, Ellie. It's always a pleasure. Absolutely always.
Thank you for listening to today's episode, and we hope you're feeling inspired. If you are, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, and join us on our mission to create a diverse, inclusive, and equitable universe. This podcast is brought to you by Equal IT, a mission-driven business working to diversify tech teams through refined talent acquisition, complemented by diversity and inclusion consulting. As an Azure Heroes inclusive leader, we aim for teams to cultivate a strong sense of belonging and equity. Find us on Twitter and LinkedIn. We welcome your feedback, questions, and would love to hear from you. Join us next time on Equal Inspired.